Later beans, some of them are orange, some of them are blue. And then they write on the orange, put piata rubbers, and then on the blue ones, put plastic rubbers. How on earth could a university student see bottle on the blue one and drop black rubber in it?
Yeah.
Or piata rubber in it? That is self-leadership missing right over there. So I think that leadership is not only limited to portfolios. In fact, if you are not able to lead yourself well, you can't lead when you are given a position.
Welcome to another episode of Hello Students. On today's episode, we'll be discussing student leadership and why it is important for our students to improve or have certain leadership skills. On today's episode, I'm joined here by Micheal Appeadu, right? I got your name right. Appeadu. And on today, Micheal is actually the current president for Campus Christian Family Association. It's a Christian fellowship on the University of Ghana. And he's also the co-founder or the founder of Team Brainy, right? Team Brainy is into leadership seminars and or into anything that has got to do with leadership development for students, JCR presidents, for leaders of association and all of that. And so I'm very grateful and very happy to have you here. Micheal, welcome to Hello Students.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so let's just start off the conversation by asking, when we say someone is a student leader or someone possesses student leadership, what do we really mean by that?
Okay, I think that student leadership is no different from the normal leadership we know. When we talk about leadership in general, I don't think student leadership is different from any of them. And I like Brian Tracy's definition for leadership. He says that leadership is simply eliciting extraordinary things from ordinary people. So trying to get what is in people out of them. But I think it's more deeper than that. If you want to elicit extraordinary things from ordinary people, it simply means that you should be extraordinary in your own way. And then also, you should know how to do the work. So I think that student leadership is all about students finding themselves in leadership roles and being able to deliver what they are expected to deliver and serving the people well.
Okay, so
that's how I think leadership.
So for me, what stood out for me was finding themselves in leadership roles or serving students, right? Because sometimes the misconceptions about leadership or student leadership is, or when we say the SRC, right? People only think people in position that are supposed to hold or are supposed to improve on their leadership skills. But then, like you have rightfully said, serving anybody. You don't need to hold a formal position to be a leader, right? Am I sure?
That's very true.
So now let's move to the other aspects of it. How do one possess or how do you cultivate a leadership or leadership skills as a student?
Yeah, I think after knowing what leadership is and knowing that everyone is born one way or the other to be a leader, one way or the other. Even your personal life, you're supposed to lead yourself before you think about leading people. But how to become a student leader, I think, first of all, is defining who you are. And you have to find your niche, where you think you can really function. That's why when there are time for maybe positions in departments, in SRCs, in schools, you realize there are people who would like to go in for, let's say, sports secretary. There are people who would like to go in for presidents. There are people who would like to go in. So you first of all find your niche, what you think you can do best. Then you develop yourself in that area. Else, when you find yourself in a particular leadership position where you've not been groomed for, you will malfunction. And that is what causes the ups and downs, the errors, and all those things we are having in our leadership now, especially in the student leadership. I'd like to share this story about one lady who was aspiring to be an SRC General Secretary on campus. And she came to visit us in our hall. You know, they are campaigning and stuff. And she bought some stuff for the boys, you know, yogurt and those kind of stuff, just to entertain them and all. So when she was done, I just got close to her and I asked her that, what's your vision for the position you want to pick? And she told me, when it's time for that, it will be opened. And I found that very awkward because
Yes.
How can you be
She was literally doing campaign, right?
right?
You're campaigning,
You
and
are
they asked you what is your
campaigning
vision.
and you are being asked what your vision is, and you don't know. Yeah, you couldn't even voice out. And it literally told me that you are in for the position just to have positional leadership, not to think about the people you're about to serve or what you are even about doing. Because anytime, even before you had the mindset of coming in for the position as a general secretary, you should know this and this are what I want to serve my people with. Yeah. So I think that if you don't find your niche, groom yourself very well, it will be very difficult functioning properly in leadership. Yeah. So the how is just to find yourself, know what you are supposed to be doing. Then from there, you groom yourself in that area. Grooming entails a lot: reading, disciplining yourself for visiting or attending seminars relating to the particular field you've chosen and all. It's just about feeding yourself all the time. Human beings, you are supposed to eat every day in order to grow. So if you want to really master your field of leadership, then it simply means that you have to be always grooming yourself and building yourself up. What students fail to realize is that some of them try to come in well prepared. But once they get in, they don't prepare anymore. But leadership is not like that.
Wait. We have to take it one by one, right?
Yes.
It will clamp everything up, right?
Right.
So let's take it one by one. So you made a very interesting point that I really liked, and it was about positional leadership, right?
Yeah.
Because I think now the new norm is that when you are done with school and then you go out and then you have a CV, the CV is rich. I was the SRC president,
Right.
I was a course rep, I was this, I was that. But then the real question people should be asking is that, what did you do when you were the SRC president,
Exactly.
when you were this, when you were that, right? Exactly. Because now elections are almost over. Okay, main campus is about to have their elections, right? And everybody is coming up. Oh, so when I was in GHS, I was a school prefect. In SHS, I was this, in this. So I think I am the best. But all those positions are really not necessary, right? What is really necessary is what you did when you were in that position, right? And so on this episode, what we are literally trying to do is that we are trying to go into how to prepare ourselves for leadership roles, right?
Exactly.
So now let's go. Before we go into preparing whilst you become a leader, let's go to the before stage, right? Okay. So to you, what do you think are some necessary skills that every leader should aspire to have before he takes a leadership role?
Okay. So I think that basically, to me personally, the underlining factor for every leadership should be integrity.
Yes. So here, where I'm recording right now, we are at the GracedLife Leadership Center. And there's a leadership center where people are being trained, right? It's kind of a youth training platform, right? They are training us into leadership seminars. And I remember in one of our monthly trainings, right? They spoke extensively on integrity and how well you can protect your integrity. Because I feel like we think we are very young to protect an identity, or we are very young to have an integrity. But then the real truth is that in future, if I see you somewhere, the first thing that comes into my mind is the impression I had with you. Right. And that impression is kind of the integrity you upheld in a position where you were not supposed to uphold, or in a position where you were supposed to, like, let's say, relax and just let me do. Because this is just a story I had. I remember in SHS, right? So I was the SRC vice president. Most of you know, but then that was it. So, and then there was this friend of mine, right? So we were doing inspection and he wasn't wearing socks. So ideally, I was supposed to punish him. Now, he's my friend. He has been my friend since Form 1, since orientation, right? We have done everything together. We work together. We are in the same dormitory. He sleeps down and I sleep on top of him. Now, he's not wearing socks. I'm left with two options. Either I punish him or I don't punish anybody at all. Right. That was an integrity to uphold, right? But then guess what I did? I thought, oh, it's just normal, right? So, okay, you won't do the inspection again, everybody go away. Because my friend, right, was in a position where I was supposed to. So in that instance, right, integrity came to play. Yeah. But then I didn't know much about integrity. I didn't even think there was a need for me to. But then guess what it did? The next inspection we had, now my friend was wearing socks. Other people were not wearing socks. Now I approached them and then they referred me back. Oh, but you last week, you were come to do inspection, your friend, because of, really?
Yeah.
But that's the truth,
That's
right?
the truth,
So
yeah.
now go on with your integrity.
Yeah. So I think it's very important, like you said. Once you weren't able to stand your grounds and do what is right, then it's going to have effects on the next step you are going to take.
Exactly.
In your leadership skill. I think another factor we should be looking at is teamwork.
Teamwork.
Yeah. My role model, Dr. John C. Maxwell, once said something. He says, one is too small a number to achieve greatness.
One is too small a number
to achieve greatness. Wow. I posted on one of my team's platform that if anybody can point out to me one human being who stood up and did something all alone by himself, I'll clap for the person. But I don't think there is anyone.
Yeah, there is nobody.
Yes. If you are coming up as a leader or a student's leader and you really want to be effective, forget about doing things all by yourself. That is why you always find yourself in a team. So equipping yourself to know how to work together as a team is very important when it comes to leadership. That's another factor I want every student's leader to pay attention to. Then the last thing I would like to talk about is excellence. Of course, there are a lot, but then excellence should be the pursuit of every leader. So once you have a vision, you have a purpose, you are trying to pursue as a leader, you have to do it diligently and then with excellence. So much such that anyone seeing from afar will admire or will wish to join you in what you are doing. And that is the end goal of leadership. Leadership is simply, like I said, you are pulling out extraordinary from the ordinary. Now, the one you are pulling the extraordinary from, who is the ordinary, must see an extraordinary in you to follow you. Right? So if you're able to do so much well, put all your factors together and deliver diligently with excellence, it will attract people to follow you. And that's what makes you successful. Wow. As you are eliciting the extraordinary from
right
you.
now, you're eliciting me too. So, but then I also wanted to share my thoughts on teamwork. You see. So there's a reason why we don't really select SRC presidents. There's a reason why we don't always select presidents, right?
Yeah.
Because of teamwork. That's why we have financial secretary, we have general secretary, we have PRO, we have other stakeholders or other positions in relation to the president, right? So if you don't need to want to be in a leadership position before you actually develop your teamwork skills, right? Because it's everyday practice. Like now, if I'm doing this, there's a team behind. There are people that I'm working with, right? And then these people are also supporting me as I give and then I take kind of thing, right? And then pursuing for excellence, right? So I really didn't want people to confuse excellence with perfection, right? Because there's a way difference between someone who wants to be a perfectionist and someone who wants to aspire for excellence, right? Excellence is you are trying to do everything you are doing at the best, your best of abilities, right? So you are not giving it like, let's say, your 50% or your 60% or your 70%, right? But then someone who wants to be a perfectionist is someone who is actually waiting. The person is waiting till he has 100% before the person can actually start delivering.
And let me come in. I think that's an error, because if you are waiting to get everything before you start, you never start.
Yes, because you can never be 100%, right? Exactly. So thank you for that addition. Now let's go back to where we were before. Okay. You are now an SRC president. Like for now, you are the campus Christian family president, right? Now, what do you need to improve upon now that you're a leader?
Okay, so like I said earlier on, leadership is progressive. It's not a one-day thing. So once I'm in the position or once I have the opportunity to lead, I think that I have to still focus, one, on building myself. Because if I stop growing, the people I'm trying to elicit from will also stop growing because I'm not going to feed them enough. So what I most important need is to be able to continue building myself. Now, since it's a spiritual organization, it means that I have to be focusing more on my spiritual growth, and then leadership in general, because leadership is not only in politics, it's everywhere. Continual development is one key that I have to build on, and also build on servicing servicing, because I'm going to service people. I'm going to try and serve people in everything I'm trying to do. Or even if you're a leader, wherever you find yourself, you try and serve the people. So I have to groom myself in servicing so much such that anytime I have the opportunity to serve the people I'm with, I'll be able to do it well. So I think those are some of the things you should be looking at, even once you are in a position. It's not when you get there, you stop. It doesn't work that way.
Okay.
It's just a continual development you have to be going through. Yeah.
Okay. So what I wanted to add was with the servicing, right? Because now everyone wants to serve, and then is expecting a reward at the end, right? Not like long-term reward, but then short-term reward, especially in monetary terms. Right? So you see most of these people in the SRC, various portfolios, auditing committee, and all those committee. People are literally in those committees not because they want to develop their skills of service, right? But then because they know that at the end of a semester, at the end of the year, some small something will come, and then I'll take, right? So there was something I also wanted to add up, because now the mindset of people or young people growing up now is that I want to serve in a leadership position so I can take care of my family. But then one thing that I've learned, right, is that you don't get into a leadership position to enrich your family. You actually get into a leadership position to enrich the society or the community in which you find yourself in. So if you find yourself as a student and then you want to lead people, it shouldn't be because, oh, when I become SRC president or when I become this person, oh, I wouldn't pay my fees again. I'll be getting some monthly allowances and all of that. All those things are like secondary, or even, let me say, tertiary things that we should not be focusing on when we want to lead people to a goal, right? Now, to end everything, right? Or is there something you wanted to add?
A little bit on the service.
Yes, sure.
I think that if you really want to benefit from your service, keep on adding value to yourself.
Yes, because elaborate.
Once you keep adding value to yourself, the benefit of the value you've added will be attracted to you. But if you go in with the mindset of, first of all, getting the benefits, then you are going to miss servicing the people. So your mind is to, what am I going to gain at the end of the whole thing? Which is wrong. But if you add value to yourself and serve what you are supposed to serve, or the people you are supposed to serve, the repercussions are going to be much. You can't even take them. So
because
it's all about adding value to yourself.
It's true. It's true. If you literally go into the position because of small allowances, you will miss bigger allowances because you wouldn't have the necessary skills or values to acquire such positions, right? Now let's end the conversation on why is it important we have this kind of discussion. Why is it important that I'm a student and I don't hold any leadership role, but then I'm being told that I'm supposed to develop leadership skills? Is leadership skills only restricted to people who hold positions, or it should be something that every student, irrespective of where you find yourself, right, should develop? Why is it important?
I like how you ended the question. That is it only limited to portfolios or position, which is not true. For example, let's be practical. On University of Ghana, on our campuses, when you come to various halls, you see there are letter beans. Some of them are orange, some of them are blue. And then they write on the orange, put piata rubbers, and then on the blue ones, put plastic rubbers. How on earth could a university student see bottle on the blue one and drop black rubber in it? Or piata rubber in it? That is self-leadership missing right over there. So I think that leadership is not only limited to portfolios. In fact, if you are not able to lead yourself well, you can't lead when you are given a position. Yes. So why we are encouraging leadership, why we are encouraging students to pick up this whole thing about leadership, is just so that we realize the environment we are in. That one, if you're a leader, it gives you the opportunity to serve people. Now, if you are leading yourself, it gives you the opportunity to put yourself in a position to realize how you can serve people, right? So like this scenario I cited, if you are doing what is wrong, how will you serve people and ask them to do what is right? So first of all, you developing yourself is what we are looking at. Forget about positions. Even if you don't have position, you can still make impact in Ghana. I sat in a church car, and the driver, after drinking a pure rubber, wanted to throw it out of the window. So I held his hand.
And he'll look at you weirdly.
He'll look at me and ask me why. And I said, no. Do you know we were on the Wager Road to Kaswa? And this is the same river when it rains, there's flood and they are complaining and all. And he told me, oh, it's just the bush he was dropping. I said, no, this is your car. When you are light, you can just gather the rubbish in the car and then dump them at an appropriate place, you see. So if we are not correcting I wasn't in any position. I wasn't the president. I wasn't an MP to tell him that he shouldn't.
You're not even the bus conductor.
I'm not even his mate. And he's even an older person, right? So the encouragement is that leadership is not about position. Once we are discovered what we want to serve, we found our niche, we have to go on to serve. That is the main reason why we encourage everyone to be in leadership positions or find themselves in leadership. And another thing I would like to talk about is the fact that it helps us to contribute to the global advancement of the country, the world, wherever we find ourselves. Because if Napare is hosting people and talking to them on leadership, now you are playing a role. You are not doing it with any position, right? But anyone who is watching is benefiting from what we are doing. Now you are playing a role. And the president somewhere is also going into meetings and trying to put in place how Ghana will be. A minister is doing something, a banker is doing something. Now we are all putting our services together to make sure the world is running and up and kicking. So I think that another thing we should be looking at is once you find yourself in a leadership role, you should see it as an opportunity to help develop the world you are in, the surrounding you are in, the environment you are in. Basically, I think those are the reasons why leadership is very, very important for students and why you should bring them out.
I'm actually blown away because you see, sometimes you hear people talk and then you hear people talk with passion. They are two different things, right? You see someone just speak and you know that, oh, this person is just talking. He's a talker, he's not a doer. And then sometimes you see someone talking and you see, oh no, this person is actually walking the talk. And you see, that is what we are trying to all push. Sometimes we find ourselves in positions that we literally need leadership skills. For example, like you were saying, right? You could be in a church role. Someone will be doing something out of the way. Like he said, someone is throwing a liter out, right? What audacity do you have? Who are you to hold my hand and tell me that, hey, don't throw? These are the leadership skills that we are actually advocating for. Because if we are actually going to do well in the future, it is based on this kind of courage, this kind of, I don't know how to say it, but then this kind of skills that we all need, right? And it's everywhere. If you don't know where to get leadership skills, the GracedLife Leadership Center is always open. We have well-resourced library. We have everything. You walk in here and then you can find absolutely everything. I'll put links to the GracedLife Leadership socials in the description and then you can check them out. If you are a student, if you are a young person growing up and you need leadership skills, this is the center for you. And there's no better way we can actually develop our skills than actually partnering with people and helping people become better versions of themselves. This is where we'll end this episode. And until next time, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Have a fun time.